Are you Link Africa?
Yes, if you are just joining us, this is Link Africa, and we are right here in South Florida with one of the icons, the pillars of the African American experience in the southern part of Florida, in Miami especially. This is Miami, and I'm so honored that this icon, Mr. Dinizulu Tinnie, gave me the opportunity. This is an opportunity, sir, and I'm so grateful you gave me this opportunity to interview you, because we're talking about the African American experience, in South Florida, and I know you have been here with your art, with your everything that you have contributed towards the South Florida experience. I want you to talk about yourself. I would like to know, if you can tell the audience who you are. Like I said, this is an icon, and I'm so excited. I came to America almost 23 years ago, and you were already established. You worked with my husband with the place in Key West, if you can remind me again.
African Cemetery.
The African Cemetery in Key West, and it's a honor, sir, to have you in Link Africa today.
Well, it is certainly an honor for me to be interviewed by royalty, and and as we, it so happens that this is the first day of Black History Month, 2024, and this year, 2024, will actually mark 50 years since I came to Miami in 1974. Wow. It's hard to believe, but that's I've been here that long,
50 years! So we are lucky to be here to get an interview with you for 50 years.
Yes. So, I don't know, you may have questions that you want to ask, but generally I can just say, my name is Dinizulu Tinnie.
Yes.
The Dinizulu name was given to me by some people in the South African exile community before I came from Boston to Miami. And that was because we were doing a lot of work, on behalf of the liberation struggle there and elsewhere in Africa at the time. And I'm born in New York, South Bronx. Mm-hmm. My parents are from the Caribbean, from Jamaica, Guyana. Mm-hmm. So there was part of me that had to come back to where the palm trees grow. Mm-hmm. New York City and Boston were not quite attuned to my makeup, I would say. But coming here, it was very fortunate, because even though I have academic training in other fields like foreign language and literature and all that, art is something I was doing most of my life. And by the time I relocated here, it was time to try and pursue art more full time. And I was very fortunate to meet a group of African American artists who had started an organization called Miami Black Arts Workshop in the Coconut Grove section of Miami. It's the oldest section of Miami. It has a historic black community, mostly Bahamian. That was a very, what can I call it, propitious, fortuitous, beneficial, blessed introduction into Miami. And then, of course, especially coming here in the 70s, I mean, who was not, certainly in the cultural community, was not part of the struggle. So, I mean, we had, the activism on so many fronts, justice for the Haitian people. We were awakening at the time to the fact that, we were not giving due recognition to women's history and contributions as a whole, and the everyday heroism, So all of those kind of helped to shape and form, my time here. And it's been fortunate. Many times I thought about, moving elsewhere, but it seems that every time I thought of that, something good would happen.
Yeah.
And I was evidently destined to be here. Got married here.
Wow.
And so this is, yeah.
Wow. Listening to you, sir, I see that you have really, been, draped in the tapestry of South Florida, the culture, the music, the art. You're an artist. What is your experience, with the reception of the blacks? Have you had experiences with the progress, of the Black African American experience?
And an interesting question. When I got here, I found, moving from, let me preface it by saying, moving from the north to the south in the United States is really quite a difference, quite a change.
Yes.
I mean, the old saying says that differences in latitude bring differences in attitude. And aside from what I guess I could say I would have normally expected, I discovered that Miami was I don't want to make it sound like they were slow or behind the curve, but so much of what had happened in terms of black consciousness in other parts of the country, well, at least in the Northeast and West Coast, where I lived for a while. You had the Black Panther Party, you had all of that foment and the festivals and, people learning Kiswahili and wearing African dress. And when I got here, it was as if a lot of that had bypassed Miami.
Wow.
A lot of, it's not like people were still stuck in the 60s.
Yeah.
It was more like, maybe, it's hard to make I had not been to any of the Caribbean islands at that time, but maybe it was a similar situation there. And, but it was a learning experience, certainly for me. And I think the interface of my needing to learn and what I brought with me, just made for a good mix.
Wow. So, wow. Thank you very much, sir. If you're just joining us, like I said, this is Link Africa, and we are so honored to have Dinizulu Tinnie in Link Africa, flagging off the Black History Month. Today is the first day of the Black History Month, and Link Africa will be going around and visiting sites and talking to icons like this so that we can understand the African American experience and to also understand how the African culture fits into the landscape of South Florida, and how the culture has either evolved or changed or is changing for the better. Like I said, this is an icon with us today. I also want to ask, the question about with the arts, the movement of art, the purchase of art as an artist. I see you. Look, we need to go around and take a picture so that people can see this, and we need to give the address because this is Black History Month and everybody needs to come and collect a piece of such iconic works. I will be trying to see if I can collect one now since I am here for real, so that we can connect your experience with the new generation now. So what do you think with the arts?
I think you just brought up a very interesting aspect of it, the generational part.
Yeah.
We have, I mentioned earlier that this year, 2024, marks 50 years, I can hardly believe it.
Yay!
Which means that 2 generations at least, 2.5 generations, if you will, have kind of come onto the planet. And each one bringing their own discovery, their own insight, their own, and their own sense of what art is.
Yeah.
And art making has changed so much. I mean, people are using computers, people are You know, what used to, for centuries, was a kind of normal, because you make a picture, you put it in a frame, and all of this is changing. And I think it's changing for the better, because a part of this is, even though it's not all been very much thought out, but you can feel it coming, there's going to be, for sure, an artist's response. I'm saying response, but it's going to be more proactive than reactive to the changes that are happening, the political atmosphere and so forth. As we know, social change always starts in the cultural community. It's not because artists are any smarter than anybody else, but it's because people in the arts, in the visual arts, in the performing arts, are producing expressions of what people are feeling.
Yes.
People are feeling things that they may not be able to put words to, but a poet, a rap, or spoken word artist might come up with something that's and people, it'll resonate with folks. The visual art, same thing. But I think what's even more important than how we as people or we as artists respond to the circumstances around us is that, and this goes all the way back to our oldest ancestral traditions of what we as people bring to our environment.
Wow.
The fact that, okay, you think of, I know it's easy to speak way too generally as if, Africa is not one place.
Yeah.
But pretty much, if you go all through the continent, you find any object, a tool, a bowl, everything is decorated with something.
Yes.
The idea is that we make the world more beautiful, more expressive with, and that's what, Kuumba, this is one of the 7 principles that we celebrate at Kwanzaa and year round, meaning creativity. The fact that we humans, who, we have the thumb that can touch all 4 fingers, we can grasp and shape things, that we get to actually participate in the act of creation. And that's kind of a sacred trust that's put in our hands. What do we do with this gift?
Wow.
And so this is part of what we are blessed to do, those of us who have the ability, the skill and the will. And in this way, we give back, we pay forward, because that's always been part of our thinking. We have to honor ancestors, we have to make the world right for the generations yet to come, because they are with us, they're in us, we are them. So all of those are ideas that go into what goes on in all of this madness you see around here.
This is not madness. This is amazing. This is how a studio is supposed. This is how an intellectual place is supposed to be. There's so much to pick out of it. And you have just spoken about the importance of the artist. Like the artist is that one that mirrors the moral state of the society, So as artists, you have been able to mirror it in so many aspects. And now I want to go back to what, the link between the diaspora and the new generation, because I came to America, like I said, almost 23 years ago, right? And things have changed since then. In fact, if you drive, downtown now, there are so many things I cannot even recognize. I cannot even, things are changing. So with the new generation, my children have been born, like I came from Africa, my children are born here. And what Link Africa wants to do is to be able to connect them to that opportunity that people, icons like you, have laid for them, you know, to work on. Like they say, Africans always believe that we're walking on the shoulders of those who have gone ahead of us. So, will I say, advising the next generation now, what do we know? Because I know for sure that Africa is influencing the world now. You guys know, right? Everybody's playing African music, eating African food, you know, whereas before they would look down on African food. Now the white man is posting about African food. You know, you listen African music. Of course, I've always influenced music because, hey, music came from Africa. Hey, music came from Africa, right? We have always been artistic, but it's more prevalent now. You know, so with us coming and our children growing up here, what is the advice and what do you see the projection, you know, in the next, you were talking about making the diaspora the sixth region.
Yeah. The African Union.
Yeah.
Which, you know, we know is the whole, it replaced the old African, the OAU, the Organization of African Unity. It's a more better constructed organization. And the African continent is divided into 5 regions. And I understand that organization has been considering making the diaspora the 6th region.
Yes.
And when we talk about the diaspora, you know, we're looking at, okay, we pretty much know of those who came as a result of the human trafficking called the so-called slave trade.
Yeah.
You know, it wasn't trading, it wasn't slaves, but you know. But Africans had been coming across the ocean long before. You had Africans who are in the Middle East, in Asia, in Melanesia, in the South Pacific, and so forth. And all of that is part of the diaspora as well. The idea of connecting all of us because we have a shared history and a shared destiny, I think is a key for us to pass on to the next generation or generations, because, well, part of it is being forced upon us. We try not to shape our thinking according to the way the colonizers did, but the fact that they identify us as a race, people to be exploited, to be looked down on, people who don't deserve to have rights or share in the bounty of the world and so forth. You know, ex-slaves or whatever they want to call us. Well, the fact that they are targeting us, we don't think this way, but if they call our skin, if they treat our skin as a military uniform and call us enemies, we need to know that we need to be unified as a global nation against that.
Strong.
So that if something is done to any of us anywhere, it's treated as though it's done to all of us everywhere. You see?
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow, this is interesting, sir. Yes, you have just, spoken about how, the world is becoming a global village very seriously. As you can see, I'm dressed in my Benin attire. You look at me, with my Idia crown, the Queen Mother crown, my white wrapper, my beads, the coral bead. The Benin culture is one of the richest culture. If you look at our history, with the Benin kingdom existed for so long. If you guys, you know me, I'm from Ora, I'm Ebiobe, and I'm here representing Africa. I also want to thank Dinizulu, Tinnie, for putting on his African. Look, immediately we came here, he said he needed to represent. So you can see he is representing culture too. Like I said, culture has traveled, culture is changing things, and we are so blessed to have him even give us a glimpse into, I mean, we could be here all day because he has so much, he's vast in so much knowledge. But for giving us a little bit of what he knows, what he has experienced, we say we are very grateful, sir. We are inviting everybody to, we are going to put his address on our page. You know, you can come, you can, I don't know if it's open to talk to people, but he is a wonderful, vast library of knowledge of the arts, the culture in South Florida. Link Africa is trying to link this thing together, so we know where to get our will I say our resource from when we are talking. You understand? A lot of time people narrate our own stories. It's good for us to begin to tell our stories and begin to lead people to the right places. So thank you, sir. As we go around, we are going to video your works. You know, we don't want to hold you too long, but thank you for granting us this interview.
Thank you.
Africa.
Link Africa. So we'll go around. I don't know. Would you mind if you want to talk about one or two of your works?
Yeah, because a lot of what you see is works in progress.
Yes,
but
this is a studio.
I can, but you know, we can maybe. Oh goodness, you can't even get to some of these to photograph them. But anyway, yeah, we can. This is a work in progress. This is almost finished. This is called. Let me hold it up. This is called The Heart Has Many Stories.
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
Wow. This is amazing.
And this is kind of a style that I work with, you know, often. Some of these, I think, if you try to photograph it, you might get a lot of reflection on the frames. But
yes, and I'm attracted to this, the sign you have here.
A colored waiting room.
Look at that.
Yes.
Look at that. Where did you acquire that, sir?
That was given to me as a gift.
Jesus Christ.
It goes, well, you know, it speaks for itself.
Yes.
It goes back to those days, you know. Let's see, this is more work in progress. This is let me pull this one out. This is easy to get to. That's another one. And this,
we get it.
This is called Resurrection.
Oh.
And let me see if I can
put it right here and zero down. This is, you said it's called Resurrection?
Resurrection.
Yes.
And it's kind of the idea of, you know, us being transported to another place.
Yes, I see the baby.
Barely alive when we got here.
Yes.
Coming back to life, you know.
Yes, I see this, you know, the strength in the face of, you know, the woman there.
Yes.
From a baby. Wow.
Yeah.
This is amazing. Amazing.
This is, this one?
Yes, sir.
This one is called Child of the Universe.
Yes.
A friend of mine came up with a title for it. This was done, it was an illustration for Black History Month.
Yes.
In, oh my God, years
Black
ago.
History
1985 or so.
Whoa.
And it's been kind of popular.
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
These pieces here, they are for sale, right?
Well,
or they are collector's items.
Some would be. Let's see. You can't hardly see that. That's called Duke's Flight. That's a tribute to Duke Ellington, for those who know the history of American, African American classical music called jazz.
Okay.
You know, he was an icon of that. This is another icon.
Okay.
That was Duke's Flight. This one's called Monk's Crossing.
Oh, wow.
Thelonious Monk, who was composer, pianist,
Wow.
and
Wow.
a lot of
Wow. Listen, if you are just joining us, this is where we have to come to get everything African American art, culture. You know, like I said, he has the history. We need to, I will post his name. Like years ago, these are people who have been pillars in the, wow. Look at that.
This is a printing block. And what this was the actual prints were that size. The image is that right there.
Okay.
It was a tribute. It was a Haitian poet and author named Félix Morisot Leroy.
Yes.
He lived here in Miami. He had spent most of his life in exile from Haiti.
Yes.
Brilliant writer. And he, if you go to Northeast 2nd Avenue, you'll see Félix Morisot Leroy Boulevard.
Okay.
The name for him. He was a champion back in the 1950s of Haitian Creole being made the official language of the country, as opposed to French. I mean, this is the language of the people.
Yes.
The people fought for independence. They defeated Napoleon. They should have their own language.
Yeah.
And so this was an event where artists were asked to select a literary figure and produce a large print.
Wow.
And
so that was all hand cut.
yes, yes. And down the light a little bit. I actually have the prints I have. I just had a friend of mine make a new series of prints of this.
Okay.
But they're not. I really can't get to them. I'll get a little crazy. But this was a nice project.
Yes.
And like I said, a lot of what you're seeing in here are things that are in progress. I came through about a year ago when I counted that I had something like 16 unfinished pieces. I said, okay, this is not a formula for success.
You gotta finish them first.
So that's what I'm concentrating on now.
Okay,
is
sir.
getting a lot of these unfinished pieces finished.
Yes.
I think this is one. So you would remember this one. This is still not quite finished. But this is you. Then you put it here. This is another idea of what we do around here, you know.
Yeah, so those of you that want black art, this is black art. This is original black art, not what we buy from Ross and Diddy's, you know, and you put print on your wall and you think you have a black. No. You need to look for the icons and collect these items now. Now, this is Black History. And the Link Africa will be going everywhere we can find history, culture, music, food, and everything. And I want you to join us. Follow our footsteps. We'll give the address. Tinnie has been amazing to us this evening. And we say thank you, sir.
I thank you.
Yes, in my language, in the oral language, you say Uzo Kasa.
Okay. And let me say, I think I learned how to say Adupe.
Yes, in Yoruba they say Adupe.
Yes.
Thank you.
I thank you. This was really an honor and a blessing to reconnect with you.
Yes.
We've been connected before.
Yes.
Johnson and I worked on a project together in
Yes.
Key West. And who knows what we'll be working on in the future.
Yes, definitely. Definitely we will.
Yes.
Thank you, viewers. Thank you for joining us. Have a blessed day.
Link Africa. Are you